Do you need a creative idea to teach God's Word to your students? Here are 5 fun ways to help your students memorize. Plus, at the end, there's a bonus method that can be used with any other method or just by itself. Method number 1 is called Erase the Words. Write the words of the verse on the board and say the verse all together. Have the students close their eyes while you erase one word. When they open their eyes, they raise their hands if they can spot which word you erased. Choose one student to state the missing word and then say the verse all together again. The student who guessed the word then comes to erase the next word while everyone else closes their eyes. This is repeated until finally there's no more words left. If you want to make it a little more challenging, don't add the lines into the words when you first write the verse on the board. Method number 2 is called Sand Timer. This is a variation on the Erase the Words method. Write all the words to the verse on the board and turn a sand egg timer over to see if you can get through reciting and memorizing the verse by the time the egg timer runs out. Each time you say the verse, instead of having a student come to erase a word, simply erase the first word or phrase. The next time through, erase the second word or phrase until the verse is completely erased. That brings us to method number 3, popcorn. In popcorn, the action goes up and down. Say the verse all together. Explain that you're going to play popcorn. When it's your turn to say the word, you'll pop up. When it's their turn to say the word, they'll pop up. Go back and forth until the whole verse is quoted and recite the reference all together at the end. After each round, remove one word or phrase from the board and alternate who starts with the first word. It's important that you don't erase the lines so the students remember there was a word there. After 1 or 2 rounds, divide the students and have one side pop up and down with the other side. After the board is empty, you can add an extra challenge and have 2 volunteers do the pop-up with each other. Method number 4 is called ping pong. In ping pong, the action goes back and forth. Say the verse all together. Explain that you're going to play ping pong. Pretend you are serving a ping pong ball and point to them. When they say the next word, point back to yourself. If someone in the group makes an error or says the wrong word, you get the point. If you make an error, they get the point. After each round, remove one word or phrase from the board and alternate who starts with the first word. It's important that you don't erase the lines so that the students remember there was a word there. After the board is empty, you can offer an extra challenge and have 2 groups go back and forth with each other, or 2 volunteers ping-pong the words back and forth. Finally, we have method number 5 called First Letters. This method works well with very short verses. Instead of writing the verse on the board, write only the first letter in all caps. Repeat the letters together 2 times and then tell them what the word means to the first letter. Repeat it together, tell them 1 or 2 more words each time, repeat the phrase up to that point until the students can recite what all the letters stand for. Here's a bonus method that can be used along with any other method or just by itself. Hand motions. This works especially well phrase by phrase. Think of a way to visualize each phrase with a hand motion. Recite the verse phrase by phrase as you show the students the motion and have them repeat it. Go through the verse a couple times with the motions and then erase a phrase each time. When you get to the erased phrase, see if they can recite that part if you use only the motion. When all the phrases are erased, you should be able to lead the verse with only the motions while they recite the whole verse from memory. For an added challenge at the end, ask a volunteer to be the leader to do the hand motions while the class recites the verse. Here are a few tips to remember when teaching the memory verse. If your verse is very short, write it word for word on the board and put a line under each word. If your verse is slightly longer, write it phrase by phrase and put a line under each phrase. If you are short on time, you can write the words or the phrases on pieces of paper in advance and then tape them to the board. Have everyone say the reference at the end, regardless of which game you're playing. Instead of doing a long explanation at the beginning of what the verse means, do short explanations of 1 or 2 key words between a couple of the rounds, and then at the end you can ask a volunteer to explain what the whole verse means or how they would apply it. By using a variety of games from week to week, you and your students can have a lot of fun memorizing God's Word together.